These students have worked closely with representatives of the Village of Wilmette, the fire department, the police department, and the village staff to understand firsthand how they function. Tonight, students from Wilmette Junior High School will conduct a mock meeting of the Wilmette Village Board of Trustees. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Wilmette, we thank the village board and staff, especially Alex Artahenia, and most especially the backbone of this program at WJHS, Aaron Schwartz and Eric Rieses. This group's collective participation and collaboration is what makes this league's Student and Government Leaders program possible. And with that, here are the students.
Good evening. I hereby call to order this regular meeting of the Wilmette Village Board for Thursday, March 5th, 2020. We will now take roll call. Trustee Dinka. Trustee Jay. Present. Trustee Zaria.
Present.
Trustee Lipford.
Present.
Trustee Hexter.
Present.
Trustee Schwartz.
Present.
Trustee Kaplan.
Present.
Trustee Shea.
Present.
Trustee Levi.
Present.
We have reached a quorum, so we can continue with our meeting as normal. It's now time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start off with the approval of the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is the minutes of the regular board meeting held on February 11th, 2020?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded.
All right, we have a motion and a second. This is open to discussion. Okay, if there's no more comments, let's hold this to a vote. Say aye if you approve. Say nay if you disapprove. Trustee Dinka. Trustee Jay. Aye. Trustee Zaria.
Aye.
Trustee Lipford.
Aye.
Trustee Hexter.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan.
Aye.
Trustee Shea.
Aye.
Trustee Levi.
Aye.
Moving on, we now have the reports and the proposals of the village officers. Let's start with the Community Development Manager's proposal. Will you please step up to the podium and pitch your proposal?
Hello. My name is Tussin Patel. Hello, board members. And I will be proposing this year's new and highly developed comprehensive plan. This plan will restructure our future community for progress with higher tax return and better economic prosperity for this very helpful community. Now, members, ask yourself why. Why must we need a plan for future development and prosperity? I shall tell you. Our future may bring very perilous events, ones that require decisive action and guidance through hardship. And without this comprehensive plan, we're lost through a forest of peril. So together, civilians of Wilmette and board members, shall we rise or shall we fall? The choice is in your hands. Now, what will this plan include, you say? This plan shall include resources on various topics, including restructuring of transportation, infrastructure, economic development, taxes, health and wellness, and culture. With these details in the plan, we will guide our growth for 20 to 30 years in the future. The 1990 Comprehensive Plan was a strong and effective one that guided us through the recession, sustaining a single-A bond rating and into the present. A simple update, similar to the one to 2000 and 2010, to the text will not provide us with the necessary requirements to sustain us for the future. A rewrite, however, will restructure our system in these highlighted ways to safely move us down a path to success. So with transportation, new transportation reform will be included to ensure safety, effectiveness, and well-being on and off transportation in this comprehensive plan. With economic restructure, with rising fears of stuff as the coronavirus with effect on the market, economic restructuring will further help us complete to ensure a healthy economy for the city and the people of Wilmette. For infrastructure, the comprehensive plan shall include various items on the improvement of safety, maintenance on the roads, streetlights to create a happy and great town. For health and wellness, the comprehensive plan shall include details to improve the health and wellness of our community, which, with better treatment for possible coronavirus outbreaks or other various health issues. Now, I passed out this handout to you guys showing the economics of the town right now. As you can see, the economics is fairly strong right now. However, we can do more. There is more to be done. And with this comprehensive plan, I believe that this new economic restructuring and infrastructure and transportation and health and wellness, we can get anything done. So I urge you to vote in favor of this comprehensive plan. Now, board members, pricing-wise, $175,000 may not be appealing. However, don't think of the expense. Rather, think of the gain. Think of how we could lead each other to prosperity by conquering our enemies economically and socially. The happiness we shall achieve. Our gain shall be enormous, enormous, I tell you. Our enemies shall fall with our rise, and we shall prosper to greatness. We shall unite as one town, much like the Roman Empire. However, our empire shall never fall, as it will now be fueled by the greatness of this new comprehensive plan. So, board members, I urge you, vote for the prosperity of Wilmette, for we shall achieve anything, and vote for the comprehensive plan, for the greatness of society shall come from it. Thank you.
This is now open to discussion and questions. Trustees, do you have any questions for our community development manager?
How long will this comprehensive plan take to draft?
That is undetermined, as it takes a lot of agreeing between different sectors of the town government. It could be a couple months or a couple years. It all depends of what we can agree on to restructure our community.
Why do you think this would be worth spending about, give or take, 70% of our budget for now?
Well, you see, even though it's a high expense for our budget, the gain for future outweighs the expense for right now. So we would have economic prosperity in the next 20 to 30 years. We would have a healthy morale within the community, and that outweighs the possible negative effects of an economic problem taking up 70% of our budget.
Do you know when the last time the current plan was updated?
Last time was 2010.
Do we have any more questions? Okay. Do you have another proposal for us?
I do not.
Okay, you may have a seat. Next, could the police chief please come forward and give the proposal?
Good evening. My name is Charlie Jacobs from the Police Department. The first request from the Police Department is to continue to fund the server for the in-car camera systems for the police cars. This project would cost about $20,000 in village operating costs and has been highly recommended by the Police Department. In 2007, the village approved $36,000 for a server for 6 in-car camera systems with DVRs. And until 2010, $18,000 per year was given to the Police Department to operate the system. Since then, it has been provided for as needed. The system provides video evidence of any interaction between a police officer and a violator and is very important. The police department is asking for $20,000 to continue to maintain the system and to ensure that there are not any significant problems, because the maintenance contract for the system ends in 3 years, and if there are any breakdowns after that point, it would be very costly for the village.
Good. Are there any more comments or facts we should know before we ask questions?
No.
This is up for discussion. Trustees, any questions?
Why do we need these cameras for the cars?
Well, the cameras are very important. If there's any sort of issue, it could be very important in court, first of all, because if there's any interaction between a police officer and a violator that needs to be, there's lots of evidence that could be taken from this into court.
When is the current server set to expire?
The current server is set to expire in about 3 years. the maintenance contract ends in 3 years, and the server just needs to be maintained constantly, but there is no, the server does not expire per se.
Why should we get the new cameras now instead of refurbishing them when we shouldn't, when we were expecting to in 3 years?
Well, no, we're not getting new cameras. We're continuing to maintain the system along with a few upgrades to make sure that there is not a breakdown, but we would not be getting an entirely new system.
Is this necessary, or would it be okay to wait like a year or two?
Well, it could be delayed, but we need to make sure the system doesn't break down because it could be very costly to send the system out to a third-party contractor, and the system needs maintenance, so it is very important.
How useful has the cameras been in the past few years?
I don't have any information on that right now.
Will this maintain the safety of the people?
Yes, it will, because we can ensure, for example, if a police officer does something wrong, in court they could show that video and it could, maybe remove that police officer, and it could definitely help to keep the community safer.
Is the only reason we want to update it is to make sure it stays maintained, or is there any current problems with the footage?
There aren't any current problems, but there have been breakdowns before, and we, the system does need to be paid to maintain. But no, there are not any current problems with it.
Was there no budget when we approved the project originally to maintain
Yes, so
them?
there was. So from 2007 to 2010, $18,000 per year was given to the project, but in 2010, the board decided to have the project, be funded whenever the police department requested a payment for it.
Are there any more questions? Thank you. Do you have another proposal for us?
Yes, I do. All right, so the other request from the police department is a village-wide upgrade to the next generation 911 system. And first of all, this is a state-mandated project, so the village will need to complete this upgrade sometime in the near future. The current 911 system used by the village of Wilmette is unable to obtain an accurate location or the name of a caller using a mobile device to dial 911. Additionally, there is no way for a caller to text or send images or videos to the 911 dispatch center, which could be very useful during an emergency situation. Next Generation 911 would allow for all of these benefits. Additionally, in 2014, the village paid almost $117,000 to upgrade from an analog to an internet-based 911 system, so most of the infrastructure is already in place for the change in the big upgrade. The police department is requesting $24,000 in operating costs for the project, and it will require $2,000 a year to maintain. And the alternative would be to delay the project. However, it is required by the state, and it would be more beneficial to make this investment now and have the system for longer.
Thank you. Is that all?
Yes.
Trustees, are there any questions?
Is there currently a way to track location based on a 911 call?
So if it is made from a landline phone, the 911 dispatch center can see where it's from. And within the last few years, the village actually began a system where if you use a mobile phone, they have a general location, but it's not very exact, and it has known to not be very exact and cause problems.
Are there any more questions? Do you have another proposal?
No, I do not.
You may have a seat. Up next, we have our Engineering and Public Works Director giving another community development proposal.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Gable, and I'm the Engineering and Public Works Director for the Village of Wilmette. So the first project I'm proposing are permanent sanitary flow meters. So these will record and measure wet weather flows to determine the impact of the village's inflow and infiltration removal program, which began in 2012. This will also help track the future inflow and infiltration progress. So this will cost $25,000 a year to inspect, troubleshoot, maintain the meters, and write an annual report. So for those who are unaware, the inflow and infiltration removal program was when the village took initiative to make improvements to the sanitation of the sewer system, and they really focused on the reduction of groundwater getting into sanitation pipes. So in addition to the $25,000 annual fee, this will cost $64,000 to purchase the meters.
Thank you. Trustees, are there any questions?
Is there currently a way to measure the sewers?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I just wanted to be clear. So it's $64,000, like when we approved the project, and then $25,000 a year from now on to.
Yes, an annual fee after that.
Okay.
What is the $25,000 for?
To maintain the system, to write an annual report, to troubleshoot if there are any problems, and to just have an inspection.
If we don't approve this, would it cause danger to the people?
No, but there wouldn't necessarily be a way to track the progress that the inflow and infiltration program has made, and this can be deferred to a later year, but it's recommended right now.
Are there any more questions? Thank you. Do you have another proposal for us?
Yes, I do. So the second project that I will propose is RRFBs at the Plaza del Lago pedestrian crossing. So in 2014, the village received a petition to improve pedestrian safety at this location. A crosswalk was installed, but complaints have since been lodged asking for a system that would require more driver compliance. And we cannot put in a traffic light at this location, but an indication has been made that a rapid reflecting flashing beacon, an RRFB, would be feasible for this location. So this would cost $30,000 this year, and there would be no maintenance fee for years afterwards because they are solar powered.
Questions?
Has anyone ever gotten close to being hit or hit before?
Not that I know of, but as of right now, the apartment building that is across the street from Plaza del Lago, many people have to walk down relatively far to get to the nearest crosswalk, cross over, walk to Plaza del Lago, and then make the same trip back. So this would just improve their condition of living.
If no one has been hit with a car or any close calls with that, why is it necessary to have?
Well, there have been close calls where somebody will be crossing the street and a driver will not stop for them, but I'm not aware of any accidents that have happened.
Have you taken any surveys to determine the amount of people that cross there instead of walking down to the other crosswalk?
I have not.
Do you know why there can't be a stoplight there currently, traffic light?
It's just where it's located on the street. I don't think that. Well, when we talked with another company, they didn't think that it would be the best place to put a traffic light, considering that there is one just a little farther down on the street.
So is it just for, like, closeness, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that all? Do you have another plan for us?
Yes.
All right.
So the final project I would like to propose is an electric vehicle charging station. So this can be wall or pedestal mounted. It can charge up to 2 cars at a time, and it will have retractable cables to prevent injury to those using the station and to prevent damage to the station itself. This would be accessible to the public 24 hours a day, and charging time will range from 30 minutes to a full day depending on the details of the car, so what brand it is and how much of a charge it needs. This would also attract customers to the local businesses in Wilmette along with the restaurants, and it would force them to spend time here in Wilmette. So this will cost the village $250 a year in maintenance, and to purchase this station it would cost $18,000.
Trustees, are there any questions?
Do you know how many people in Wilmette have electric cars currently?
I do not, but currently people in Wilmette who do have electric vehicles need to go to neighboring towns to charge their vehicle, and while it doesn't seem like much of a problem, it would be easier for them if they didn't have to travel as far.
Is there any plan to charge the people using it?
Yes, there would be, and that would be set by the village so we could make revenue on it. Not a lot, but we would be making money from it.
Where would these be located?
In downtown Wilmette, again, where the village board would decide.
Thank you. You may have a seat. Next, we have our Administrative Services Director.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Kevin Shinners, and I'm here to present some projects from Administrative Services. And these projects are, pretty good in my opinion, so I ask for some of your time to hear me out. The first project that I'm presenting is council chambers / audio replacement. This is very important because the technology we have right now is very outdated and it's hard to find replacement parts for. The technology was bought in 2010, and the cost of repairing this technology has gotten very expensive over the years. It would be more effective for the board to get updated technology for the council chambers and updated technology for an updated audio technology. So if one piece of the technology breaks, we'd be able to easily replace it and it wouldn't be as expensive. The cost to replace the technology is $80,000.
Trustees, are there any questions?
I would just like to know how many people watch approximately every board meeting?
Well, it depends. If it's something that isn't as important as other meetings, not that many people watch it. But if it's a meeting about a very important decision in the town, there could be a lot of people watching it.
Do you know what the average is?
No, I do not.
Do we have any more questions?
The cameras were replaced. Did it attract more viewers?
Not that I know of.
Do you think it's a risk that the cameras will break down if we don't replace it?
Well, yeah, they could break down, and it's getting harder to find more replacement parts because the technology is outdated and it's more expensive. So if the technology breaks, we wouldn't be able to broadcast these meetings until we find the replacement parts.
Does the entire system need to be replaced or just parts of it individually?
I think the entire system.
Okay.
Why couldn't this be pushed on to later years?
Because as more time goes by, the parts become more expensive, and it will get harder to find them because some companies stop making them.
Great. Do you have another proposal for us?
Yes, I do. The second project I'm presenting is telephone system replacement. The telephone systems are very important, and they seem to be doing pretty well. The village has partnered with the Wilmette Park District to operate as an Internet Protocol IP-based telephone system from ShoreTel since 2009. The typical lifespan of an IP telephone system is 7 to 10 years. Since that time, the system has functioned well, no major system upgrades have been needed, and only routine handset replacements have been needed, and one server upgrade was performed in 2015. And recently, the village is made aware that ShoreTel Inc. was purchased by a competitor, and that the significant hardware purchases will be required to keep the system under a maintenance contract. In result, alternate phone systems have been explored, and it is recommended that the village transition to a hosted solution for a telephone system. Switching from a property telephone system to a hosted solution will replace the expense of maintaining a physical server and will allow for the purchase of cheaper telephone handsets to work with multiple phone service providers. This project would cost $24,500.
Thank you. Trustees, do we have any questions?
Will it be a major concern for the people of Wilmette if it's not replaced?
Well, a lot of people call the village board on a daily basis, and also the employees here have to use the telephone systems to call other parts of the board. So it's important for the phone systems to be replaced.
Okay.
So have there been any signs that the current telephone systems are breaking down or making it so that it decreases the efficiency of calls made in and out of the town hall?
No, only routine handset replacements have been needed, and one server upgrade was performed in 2015.
So why is it necessary when it currently isn't a very significant problem?
Well, it would decrease the price of purchasing handset, and it would just make things a bit cheaper.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Perfect. You may have a seat. Our last proposal is from the Water Management Director. You can come up now and present.
Good afternoon. My name is Ella McCurdy. I'm the Water Management Director. The first project we are proposing is rebuilding one of the high-lift pumps at the water plant. At the water plant, there are 8 high-lift pumps that maintain the pressure in the system and transport finished water to the residents. These pumps are tested and replaced routinely, so this would be routine maintenance to ensure that problems are not caused in the future. After rebuilding, the pump will operate for expected to be another 10 years. We could wait to repair these, but until the pumps break or begin to malfunction, but it could damage the plant and would cost significantly more money to fix and could lead to water restrictions on high demand days. It's much better to replace the pumps now than wait until they start causing problems.
Thank you. Trustees, are there any questions for our Water Management Director?
When was the last time there was upgrades or the pumps were replaced?
This one specifically, I think it was several years ago. They upgrade them based on last time they were upgraded and hours of service, so this pump has hit the threshold for needing to be updated.
Are there any more questions? Do you have another proposal for us?
Yes. The second project I will be proposing is tank maintenance. Gradually, sediment builds up in the water tanks. This sediment can't be washed out and must be cleaned out and manually removed, which is what this proposal is for. This is also preventative maintenance to ensure good water condition. If the cleaning would be postponed, it could restrict the tank's ability to take in water, negatively affect the volume of the tanks, and negatively affect the water filters.
Perfect. Are there any questions?
Would this restrict our water service if it was not maintained or fixed?
If it is not maintained and the sediment is not taken out, it could cause problems.
Are there any more questions? Do you have another proposal for us?
I do not.
You may have a seat. Let's discuss our village plans. Would someone like to start? Please remember that we have a $260,000 budget for our max spending level. Should we start with the electric vehicle charging station? Does anyone have any comments?
I think this would be a good idea because people in Wilmette that have electric cars, I don't think should have to go to neighboring towns to charge their vehicles, and it's only $18,000 with a yearly fee, with a yearly charge of $250, which I don't think is an unreasonable price for something that is. Well, I think it's pretty important, and I think it's a pretty reasonable price for that.
Well, I do think it's like an important thing, and like it could help Wilmette. I think we could like wait to pay for it for like like next year or something. Like it's not necessary at this moment.
Yeah, I think it has a lower priority than many of the things on our list because a lot of the things will cost us a lot more money if they break in the next time period. And this is more for just like, it's not a serious issue that needs to be addressed now. So if there was something else, I know the comprehensive plan is extremely expensive. So if we were considering something that's on the higher side, I don't think this would be a good idea.
Yeah, I feel like not as many people have electric cars nowadays. I know it's going to be growing, but I feel like it's like maybe a year or two we could wait.
Let's move on to our permanent sanitary flow meters.
I think this is a good idea because I think it's important to keep, and it's going to be it's going to be more, it's going to be cheaper now, and then we can maintain it every year. I think this is more higher priority for now because I think it's worth the money we pay now instead of having to pay.
This would be a good idea because there isn't currently a way to measure the sewers, and so this would be a good way to do that.
Okay, let's move on to the Plaza del Lago RRFBs.
I don't think this is very important because it hasn't been a problem in the past. No one has been hurt. If someone had, then I think it would be different. But since no one has, I don't think it's a good idea to spend money on it.
I think it's a better idea to do it now before someone gets hurt, because there have been close calls, and I think if people feel safer, they'll be more used to walking that road. So I think it's just a better idea to do it now and then ensure the safety of the citizens.
I think that this is another one that isn't completely necessary. I think it's good to have, but I don't think it's going to totally affect us in a very large way. I think a survey should take place to kind of see actually the traffic that goes through there and monitor the amount of people that go through there, because I know there's a lot of people that live in that apartment building, but there is only a couple apartment buildings right there, and there's crosswalks and cross areas farther down, so yeah.
But part of the problem is that the people aren't necessarily going out of their way to use the crosswalks. They're just crossing there, which can be dangerous.
I think I see that, but for $30,000, I don't know if we should put that up for 5 people that don't want to cross at the crosswalk down the street.
Well, there's like 3 or 4 apartment buildings really close to that crosswalk, and we really don't want to risk it. This could really severely hurt someone or multiple people. Just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So I think we shouldn't risk it if we have the money for it.
Yeah. I think that we should approve this project because in any case it would improve safety and foot traffic of Wilmette pedestrians.
I think maybe instead of getting a new system with an RPB system, I think we could instead maybe make another crosswalk somewhere, which would be a lot cheaper, because I think it sounds like it's not safe the way it is now, but I also don't think it's worth spending $30,000 on this, because I don't think it's completely mandatory that we do it now.
Well, I mean, this is the crosswalk that people have been talking about as the, I guess, unsafe. So I think it's best to just do what's best for the citizens and then make sure they're safe instead of having to do something else, which might not be as important as what the current situation is on Plaza del Lago.
This is good for the people because it's a more efficient way to get power for the crosswalk, and it will help to keep the people safe more.
Also, this could possibly help the local businesses at Plaza del Lago, because maybe more people will be willing to go and go to all the stores there, possibly.
To help raise the economy.
Okay, let's move on to the server for the in-car cameras. Are there any comments?
I don't think it's very necessary because the current camera systems are working completely fine.
Yeah, I think we could wait at least maybe a year or so, because I think there's other things that could be a bit more important, and I think
I think it is actually necessary. I think we should have safety and security in our community, and I think this will help make sure that both police officers and civilians are doing their job correctly. So I think it's fine, and also it's relatively inexpensive compared to the other things on our list. So I believe it actually is a good idea.
I believe that it's not a very good idea because I don't think it's necessary that we do it now, because nothing has broken yet as of now that it's still in working condition. I think we should wait the 3 years like we were originally planning to, then get a new system.
But this is a little bit more about preventative action, because if we wait too long, then they could break down, and there might not be evidence in court to convict someone or just keep the civilians safe.
I actually have a question for the police chief.
Police chief, could you come back up here, please?
Yes.
So to replace the system, how much would that cost?
Well, we're not asking for a total replacement of the system. We're just asking for $20,000 to continue to maintain the system. and add some upgrades.
I understand, but if we were not to maintain it, let's say if we did not want to spend the money on maintaining it, what would it cost us if it were to break down?
Well, I don't know that right now, but once the maintenance contract expires, the police department would have to send the system out to a third-party provider, which would be extremely expensive, probably much more expensive than it would be to continue to maintain the system for a few years.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Let's move on to the Next Generation 911 update. Trustees, are there any comments?
I feel like this is important because I think this one actually might not be, like this one can actually, I think this one I think has been broken before and maybe has broke down a bit because some of the calls, but I think it's also ensures the safety because sometimes people can be in danger and etc. and then they have to call 911. I think it's useful to have like, just in case like something happens, I think it's useful because, again, like kind of similar to the other one, but it might be more expensive to pay for it after it breaks down.
I think it's very important that we get a new 911 system. First of all, because we're going to have to do it again in the next couple of years because it's mandatory, but also because the citizens, it's only a general area that you're able to track the call to. I think it's very important that they're able to get exact location of wherever the crime or whatever the call is happening.
Yeah, because I feel it's important to like go to where the person and track them because I feel like that's like one of the most important parts of an 911 call, like going to their location and helping them.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to the council chamber's AV replacement.
I don't think we should approve this project because I think there are other projects of higher priority.
Yeah, I think this one is very expensive. I think that it is also not extremely useful to the public. Like a charging station would bring people to downtown and they would then spend money. We'd collect revenue from sales tax and things like that, and our community would just be livelier. But whereas this, I mean, if we have a couple people here, maybe a lot on 1 or 2 nights, that are relatively important to the community, but I think people can still watch, so I really don't see a necessary upgrade here, especially because it's so expensive.
Well, you can.
You sure? Okay. I don't think it's very important at all that we get a new system because the current one is in very good working condition, and I don't think that there would be much improvement if we were to change that.
Well, I don't think this is like the most important project. There is a risk of it breaking down, and like there are some people who aren't able to come here and watch the meetings, and they should be able to view the meetings. So I do think it's important that people have access and are able to watch it, but I still don't think it's like it's the biggest priority right now.
Well, I think people are currently able to have access, just this would be upgrading the cameras.
Okay. Let's move on to the telephone system replacement. Trustees, are there any comments on this proposal?
I think this one is a fine thing. I think that it's $24,500, so we have room in our budget for that. And I think it should be better for people in Wilmette and people that work here in Town Hall to have a good communicating system within each other, or with each other and with our community.
Yeah, I feel like this one for the price is worth it because lots of people make calls every day to family or just for work, and I think it's a really important aspect of lifestyle.
I think this would be important because it could help us keep ties with the school districts and the park district.
Okay, let's move on to our most expensive item, the comprehensive plan. Are there any comments?
I think even though it's very expensive, it has a really good long-term effect. So like it will benefit a lot of it'll benefit a lot of people in the future.
Okay, so this plan is very expensive. It takes up more than half of our budget. So I don't know. I think it's important to keep in mind that this is just a plan, So anything negotiated or discussed in this plan is not actually guaranteed to get done. We actually have to find the money to get it done. So spending $175,000 just to plan to get it done doesn't really seem like something that's at the top of our priority list right now.
Okay, let's move on to the rebuilding of the high lift pumps. Are there any comments?
I think this would be a good idea because it's a routine purchase and it would be good for the high lift pumps.
Yeah, I feel like the water quality is important. I think this is for the
Yeah.
Okay.
We also-
I feel like it's important for the citizens. Yeah, citizens because
we also.
Yeah.
Also could end up like costing us more money if it gets damaged, so we might as well just like spend it and like do it now.
And if we upgrade them, it could keep our pump systems running more efficiently.
Yeah, I agree. I know we sell water to neighboring villages too, so that's also a way to generate profit. So I don't see the harm in replacing it.
Okay, let's move on to tank maintenance. Are there any comments?
I think that this is very important that we get it because it has to be done anyway. We can't. The pumps have to be maintained so that we are able to. If the pumps aren't maintained, then we won't be able to get the water. I mean, it has to. It's not something that it could probably wait a few years, but then we're just gonna have to spend the money. Then it's gonna have to happen. I mean, we're still gonna have to do it. So I think we should just do it now.
I think if there's room in the budget, I think, I guess it's something that I would vote for. But I would say replacing the pumps is more prioritized over this. But I think if we have some extra money, I think this is definitely on the list.
Okay, can I have a motion to vote on the capital improvement projects? Again, keeping in mind we only have $260,000 to spend.
A motion to vote.
Seconded. I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's first vote on the electric vehicle charging station. When I call your name, please respond with yes if you, or aye if you approve it, or and no if you do not. Trustee Jay?
Aye.
Trustee Zuria?
Aye.
Trustee Litford?
No.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
No.
Trustee Shea?
No.
Trustee Levy?
Aye.
The proposal passes. The board approves the electric vehicle charging station. Oh wait, I didn't vote. I vote no.
Wait, does that change it? Does that change anything? Yeah, it does. Yeah, that does change it. It's time. Wait, hold on.
We have 9. Okay, we're gonna take a revote.
Yeah, redo. Okay, yeah.
Trustee Jay.
Wait, we're not ready.
We're ready.
Oh, we're ready.
Trustee Jay. Trustee Zaria.
Aye.
Trustee Litford.
No.
Trustee Hexter.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan.
No.
Trustee Shea.
No.
Trustee Levy.
Aye.
I vote no.
Alright, it's 5 to 4.
Okay, so it did pass.
The proposal passes and the board approves the electric vehicle charging station.
Do we have to take off the $250 yearly from our thing now? Okay.
Moving on, let's now vote on the permanent sanitary flow meters. Trustee Jay?
Aye.
Trustee Zaria?
Aye.
Trustee Litford?
Aye.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
Aye.
Trustee Shea?
Aye.
Trustee Levy?
No.
I vote yes.
It passes.
The proposal passes and the board approves the permanent sanitary flow meters at $64,000. Next is the server.
Wait.
Next is the server for our in-car camera system.
The big thing.
Trustee Jay?
Nay.
Trustee Zaria?
Nay.
What are we going for?
Trustee Litford?
Nay.
What are we voting for? Okay, cool.
Trustee Hexter?
Nay.
Trustee Schwartz?
Nay.
Trustee Kaplan?
Nay. Or no.
Trustee Shea?
No.
Trustee Levy?
Aye.
One more revote.
I can't keep track if I'm doing the math. Wait, I'm trying to figure. Okay, you do the math. I'll count. Okay.
There's no math, it's just counting.
Guys,
No, he does
everyone
the
said
math.
yes. It passed.
Okay.
Except for you. It's a majority. It passed.
Okay. The proposal passes. The board approves.
How much did it cost?
One said no.
No, we all said no. Redo it.
Okay, let's revote. Let's revote.
Oh my God. Sorry. Oh God. Oh my God.
Wait, but I'm still doing the last one.
Okay. Again, we are voting for the server for our in-car camera system. Trustee Jay?
Nay.
Trustee Zarea?
Nay.
Trustee Litford?
Nay.
Trustee Hexter?
Nay.
Trustee Schwartz?
Nay.
Trustee Kaplan?
Nay.
Trustee Shea?
No.
Trustee Levy?
Nay.
I vote yes. Next, we have the Plaza Del Lago RRFBs. Trustee Jay?
Nay.
Trustee Zarea?
Aye.
Trustee Litford?
Aye.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
No.
Trustee Shea?
Aye.
Trustee Levy?
No.
I vote yes. The proposal passes and the board approves the Plaza Del Lago RFBs.
Just so everyone knows, now we're below the limit for the big thing, the most expensive thing that we're going to do.
Okay. We still vote on it.
Was that 30 or 20?
Now we have the next. Next, we have the Next Generation 911 update for $24,000. Trustee Jay?
Aye.
Trustee Zarea?
Aye.
Trustee Litford?
Aye.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
Aye.
Trustee Shea?
Aye.
Trustee Levy?
Aye.
I vote yes as well. I think it passes. The proposal passes and the board approves the Next Generation 911 update.
We have $124,000 left. Just gonna finish it off.
Next, we have the council chambers AV replacement. You ready?
Yeah.
Trustee Jay?
Aye.
Trustee Zarea?
No.
Trustee Litford?
No. Sorry.
Trustee Hexter?
No.
Trustee Schwartz?
Nay.
Trustee Kaplan?
No.
Trustee Shea?
No.
Trustee Levy?
No.
I vote no as well, and the proposal does not pass. Now we have the telephone system replacement. Trustee Jay?
Nay.
Trustee Zarea?
Nay.
Trustee Litford?
Nay.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
Aye.
Trustee Shea?
No.
Trustee Levy?
No.
I vote yes.
No.
The proposal does not pass. Next, we have the comprehensive plan for $175,000. Trustee Jay?
Pay for it anyway.
Nay.
We still vote on it. Trustee Zarea?
Nay.
Trustee Litford?
Nay.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Nay.
Trustee Kaplan?
Nay.
Trustee Shea?
No.
Trustee Levy?
Aye.
I vote no.
It does not pass.
The proposal does not pass. Next, we have the rebuilding of the high lift pumps for $40,000. Trustee Jay?
Aye.
Trustee Zarea?
Aye.
Trustee Litford?
Aye.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
Aye.
Trustee Shea?
Aye.
Trustee Levy?
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
It passes.
The proposal passes. The board votes to approve the rebuilding of the high lift pumps. Next, we have tank maintenance for $40,000. Trustee Jay?
Aye.
Trustee Zarea?
Aye.
Trustee Litford?
Aye.
Trustee Hexter?
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz?
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan?
Wait, I was doing the math. Oh, aye.
Trustee Shea?
Aye.
Trustee Levy?
Nay.
I vote aye. The proposal passes and the board approves.
We have $44,000 left.
We're done.
All right, well, can we go back to him?
All right, we're done. We approved how many projects?
Like 6 or 7.
We approved several projects and we have $44,000 left to spend. Are there any standing committee reports? No. Let's move on to new business. Is there any new business you'd like to bring up?
I was just wondering, what are the what can we use the new money for, or the extra money for?
It'll be saved for next year.
We have $44,000 left. I vote that we just spread it among the trustees.
No, we need to save it for next year. Committees, are there any matters we need to discuss? Wonderful. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. This is open to discussion. No, let's bring this to a vote. Trustee Jay. We're voting to adjourn the meeting.
Aye.
Trustee Zarea.
Aye.
Trustee Litford.
Aye.
Trustee Hexter.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Kaplan.
No.
Trustee Shea.
Aye.
Trustee Levy.
Nay.
I vote aye. There is a majority and the motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.
Students, you did a